So tonight's movie was the original Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Personally, I have already seen this film. It's been a number of years, but a big part of what I try to do with these videos is to interest other people in horror movies. And another big thing that I really enjoy doing is trying to rope my wife into watching horror movies with me, because she does not like horror movies. So it was kind of cool because she was willing to watch a movie with me tonight. I wanted to pick one that I knew would be a solid film, but also I know she's never seen any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So I wanted to introduce her to Freddy. If you haven't seen the movie or know the premise of Nightmare on Elm Street, the overall premise of Nightmare on Elm Street is there's this guy named Freddy Krueger. He has 4 knives attached to the tips of his fingers from a glove that he made, or blades, I don't know if you call them knives. And he wears a very iconic not black. Sometimes you just mess up. I said black because I grabbed my shirt. Green and red knitted sweater, and pretty typically like a fedora style hat. Kind of his whole thing is he is in your nightmares, hence the name Nightmare on Elm Street. So when you sleep, you are susceptible to running into him. And Freddy plays off of fear, so he likes to really kind of make things start kind of slow and then like really build up into like these crazy over the top things. And that's how he gets his power. Rewatching this one was just a really phenomenal time. Like I said, part of it was because my wife had never seen it, so I was real excited for her to see it. But it's also cool to kind of go back and revisit things from your childhood. Because honestly, the last time I saw the original Nightmare on Elm Street, it had to have been in my early teens. Possibly even younger. My favorite one is the third one in the series, Dream Warriors. That to me is the best one that there is. But there's also been the readaptations of Freddy vs. Jason, which a lot of people don't like. I personally enjoy it. It's nothing crazy, like I'm not like, oh, this is a movie everybody has to watch, but I really enjoy it for what it is. And the soundtrack is phenomenal for that movie. Absolutely phenomenal. Revisiting this one was cool because I did know already going into this that this was Johnny Depp's first film. So if you haven't seen this and you do like Johnny Depp, worth checking out. He is easily like 16, 17 years old in this movie. Another really cool thing that I kind of noticed going through the movie was one scene, there's like a TV on where Nancy is just watching TV and she's one of the characters in the film. And the movie that's on the TV is Evil Dead, which is like one of my favorite horror series movies ever. I can't even begin. Army of Darkness, I think, is what really made me fall in love with it. And then later on going back and rewatching the Evil Dead movies 1 and 2, they're kind of hokey, but they're also like pretty solid, and just some of the effects that they do, especially for the time that those came out, was nuts. So basically, kind of a synopsis of the movie. This girl, Nancy, her friend, whose name is not popping into my head right now, she basically is having these bad dreams, and so she asks her friends to come stay the night because she's been having bad dreams. And so they go and they stay the night. It's Nancy, the blonde girl whose name I can't remember, Johnny Depp, and the guy whose name I can't remember. I'm real good at this. And in the middle of the night, she starts thrashing around the bed, and the guy whose name I can't remember is with her in bed and gets up and like freaks out because she's just thrashing all over the place. And then all of a sudden her shirt rips open and she just has these slashes down her chest, and she starts like flailing all over the bed, and then progressively just like lifting up the wall and like legit on the roof, up on the roof above, and then just drops onto the bed, and there's just blood everywhere. One thing that I thought was surprising was the amount of blood in that scene. Just because it's an older movie, and I know like back in the day, like what was scary versus what is scary now is night and day different. So when I watch especially older movies, I really know and think in my head like, okay, like take it for what it is, because at the time this was insane. Like The Exorcist, like people like throwing up in the theaters and leaving the theaters, stuff like that. I've seen The Exorcist multiple times, and it keeps getting funnier every time I watch it. Beetlejuice. But no, it's like I can see why it made people uneasy and sick. So, but it's very hokey now. So that really surprised me that there was just that much gore in a scene, especially in a movie from the early 80s. Moving forward, Freddy starts attacking these other people because it was Freddy that killed her in her nightmare. Nancy, her boyfriend, and the other guy basically comes for all of them, kills the other guy. Spoiler alert. And then progressively kills Johnny Depp's character in one of the greatest ways that I have seen somebody die in a movie, which is another reason that I just really love this series. Because Freddy, since he plays off fear, comes up with just some insanely creative ways to kill people. And I mean, it's obviously it's Wes Craven that's coming up with these insane just things, like the telephone. Well, Nancy hears it ring after she rips it out of the wall, so it's not plugged in, and she answers it, and then Freddy says something, and then this part of the phone right here just turns into like from here down, and he's like, ah. Again, another great part for you to just start watching so just weird, bizarre things that I really enjoy, especially when they're just off the wall. Like, I would never think of a tongue coming out of a telephone. But anyways, going back to the best way I've seen somebody die, Nancy and her boyfriend Johnny Depp make a plan to meet up at midnight because Nancy has a plan on how to kill Freddy. And so he's trying to stay awake, so he's watching TV, he's listening to music, ends up falling asleep, watching TV, listening to music. And he's laying on the bed, all asleep and everything like that, and out of nowhere, Freddy's arm just pops up out of the bed and pulls it down and just sucks him into the bed. And I was like, well, that was kind of a letdown. I mean, other people are getting like shredded open and carried up walls. And then Johnny Depp just gets sucked in a bed. And then just out of nowhere, there's just this hole in the bed and just blood just spews. Like, and I'm not talking like squirting. I'm talking like somebody cranked the freaking wrench on the side of a fire hydrant and just like it goes all over the place. It's all up on the roof and everything like that. And it's just pulling up on the roof. And then you never really see the room again because I imagine it all falls down, but in that scene it's legit just all going up on the roof, and just so insane, especially for an 80s movie. Like, blows my mind, absolutely blows my mind. And I just love this whole series and Wes Craven, just some of the stuff the guy comes up with. A couple other really cool things is Nancy's ability to realize that if you pull something, if you're holding onto something when you wake up, you still have it, because at one point she has Freddy's hat in her hand as she wakes up, and then she wakes up and because she's grabbing Freddy because he's attacking her, so she's trying to push him off, stuff like that. She wakes up and she actually still has his hat in the real world. And so I thought that was a cool concept and a cool way to bring this story to its conclusion, because she then realizes that, okay, I can bring Freddy out of my dream and into the real world and then kill him, or have somebody kill him, her dad, whoever. It was supposed to be Johnny Depp's character, but obviously that didn't work out. It's kind of weird. She reads this home like survival booby trap guide thing, and she comes up with just insane stuff, like a sledgehammer hung above the like wedge to where like when, well, use this arm as it, so that like she lifts it up and then hangs it with like I think a screwdriver and 2 coat hangers, so that when the door opens, it pulls a screwdriver out and the sledgehammer just swings down. Like, who thinks of this? This is some hardcore Home Alone stuff, which I think I'm 99% sure that Nightmare on Elm Street came before Home Alone. So just little things like that were just like, they were just kind of weird, but cool at the same time. And so all in all, like, I have like almost nothing negative to say about this movie. Oh, one thing that I love is my wife getting scared. Because when she watches scary movies, like, she audibly yells or jumps. Like, for myself personally, like, sometimes, and it's not very frequent these days, but sometimes stuff scares me, like, straight up. It just does, like, especially jump scares. That's really what gets me. And oddly timed jump scares, that's what really, really gets me. I don't like the typical, like, jump scare where I've seen so many horror movies that I can pretty much call when a jump scare is going to happen. So usually when she watches movies with me, like in the theaters or something like that, and I happen to be holding her hand or have my arm on her leg or my hand on her leg, I'll usually like give just a little squeeze to kind of warn her, so she knows, so she doesn't like, because she will audibly yell, like even in the movie theater. And so I kind of just have built a warning system, and it kind of coaxes her into going watch more horror movies with me. But There's a scene where Freddy just pops out from behind Nancy, and it absolutely made her jump. And it was the greatest. It made the whole movie worth it. Knowing that it's an old movie, so the graphics aren't the CGI crazy stuff that we have today, but still really impressive. The story is just great. It's a good slasher horror movie with a pretty well done, like I said, CGI and graphics for what it's there. Like Freddy actually looks pretty good, and Robert Englund slays. The overall just essence of the movies, like the creepy little kids like singing the creepy 1, 2 Freddy, like that's something like that I remember haunted me as a child. Like for me, this movie's gonna be up there. I'm gonna say on this one I'm going with a 9 because it's a solid Freddy movie, which there are some of the Freddy or Nightmare on Elm Streets that aren't the greatest. So for me, this is one of the better ones. Just everything about it, and even the way that it ends, where it's kind of like, okay, did that actually happen? Did that not happen? You know? So I really think that's where I'm gonna put it. This one's gonna be a 9. And my wife, she said she enjoyed the film. She was kind of confused at the end as to whether it all really happened or didn't because of the way that the movie concludes. But phenomenal movie. Take the time, watch it. I don't think it's on any streaming services. Watch it. It's a good, solid watch. Good scares. Pretty well done. Check it out.